Hi everyone, welcome back to the episode. Or if you're new, thanks for finding us. We have Hans with us today in the studio. Hans, the master dog trainer, which he hates to say that, but
No, no master, man.
okay. Master is a good word. I mean, you got to
Yeah, who's master?
yeah,
How do you like a black belt, you're master, right?
yeah.
Right.
I
So
don't know. I guess 50 years of dog training kind of makes you an expert.
well, but you know what? There's a lot of people on the internet who,
Yeah,
when you say master, they
I
they,
know,
they
I know.
cringe.
I
So
know. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Hans just loves dogs and he's been doing it for 50 years. So he knows a thing or two.
56.
56. Sorry. 56. Oh,
You know what? I just said that before we started
yeah.
recording. People say, "Oh, I've done it for 50
50.
years."
Yeah.
Right? Like it means like that you are expert because
If
you
you're
did
50.
50 years, right? So I always says, well, and they disagree with me, but that way they said, well, I do it for 50 years, so I know what I'm talking about. And I said, okay, so I do it for 56
6.
years. So does it mean that now I am right?
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Ridiculous.
No. And Hans always says he's learning. When we do
Oh
training
yeah, learning. That's
on
why I do it.
Saturdays. Yeah,
Never stop.
train with Hans on Saturdays, and he always says, that's sort of the humbleness of a good teacher is that they admit that they're still learning. So, and I think that's true. So,
My passion to learn things.
yeah. Today we're gonna talk about jumping, dogs jumping. So, Hans, there's I guess right before we
Yeah.
started, they do it for different reasons. He said so. If you can,
Yeah, the the,
like,
the, the, the two basic reasons
yeah,
why dogs jump is they want to come to your face, like in playful way or whatever, and the other one is they challenge you. They do
like
it
a
just
dominance thing.
yeah, they
Or,
do it just before they bite you,
uh-huh.
right? They can't jump at you, so it's like first step or the last step rather before
Yeah.
they bite you in the face, right? So
Yeah.
it's two different reasons. But I mainly want to focus today on just friendly dog
Yeah,
jumping.
like when you let them out of a crate and like,
Yeah, yeah, or visitor
or
comes and they
visitor,
start
yeah,
jumping.
visitor, yeah,
But you know what? A lot of times when visitor come, they jump at them because they challenge them.
okay,
And it looks like, oh, it's fun.
uh,
No, you know what? Dogs don't do things really that much in fun.
yeah,
Sometimes some things, kind of fun, but everything dogs does is either
purpose,
it has a purpose either for fighting, or, for dominancy, or for hunting.
yeah,
So when the dog is jumping at a visitor who just came onto your property, that's usually not friendly thing, okay? Even so, it looks like friendly, right?
yeah,
But they may jump at you, I see how you're gonna react. If you get scared, well, then they're in leadership position,
kind of
and
testing you,
you just
yeah,
messed up. The default is now you're like Carnegie, like I to say, you can
first,
make only first impression,
yeah,
one first impression, and you just gave the dog first impression that
you're not in
you are
leadership,
not the dominant personality over there, right?
yeah,
But again, I want to go back to when you come home and they're happy and jumping at you. You
yeah,
know that's
yeah,
another thing. Okay, so when you come home and the dog is jumping at you, my dogs don't jump at me, right? Why is that? I mean, happy. They're happy to see me, and they may run around and whine and whatever,
yeah,
but they don't jump at me. None of my dogs, jumps at me ever.
yeah,
It's just now I didn't teach them not to jump at me.
okay,
It's not like that they were jumping and then I said, okay, well, you got to stop that. Now it happens when I, let's say, purchase dog from Europe or comes here, and yeah, they may do that because somebody else didn't bring them up correctly. So the jumping, or friendly, happy jumping, usually is caused by people carrying puppy. Especially women, they like to cuddle and carry the puppy. And I said, don't do it.
yeah,
But I want to do it. And then they call me 6 months later
yeah,
and the dog is jumping at them. They bring the puppy towards their face and the puppy feel comfortable over there. And then when they stop carrying them because dog is now 80 pounds,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So the puppy still want to be by your face, because that where the happy hormones were induced
Yeah.
when they were carrying them, the oxytocin.
Yeah, a default
Yeah.
kind of. For
Well, yeah,
Well, not
it's a
default.
default, but you basically got the dog addicted to the oxytocin secretion, which is a happy bonding hormone, right?
They want to be there.
And they get the burst of the oxytocin when they are right here by your face, when you carry them in your arms,
Yeah,
right? And now you don't carry them, so they still want that
yeah,
oxytocin, and they, because they're addicted to it, they go to you like to a drug dealer,
yeah.
and they want it, and that's where they're coming. So stop carrying the puppies.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, well, but you know, I know it's hard for people because they, you know,
They're
as I
puppies.
said, especially women, they like to carry things just
like
like
a
a little
child.
baby,
Yep.
you know. And I can understand that, but you know what? If you want to do it, well, do it. But then the dog is gonna jump at you.
Yeah.
Now, me being tough guy, you know, who lives up in the mountains and you know eat children for breakfast, I don't carry dogs, right?
Yeah.
I just don't, you know. And
So what happens when you? Okay, so how do you get that out of the dog?
well, never start. That's the best
Okay, so-
advice, right?
Okay.
You know,
right.
it's always, you know, always when you have any behavioral problem,
Yeah.
right? The best thing is not to cause the problem,
Okay.
right? That's you know,
Yeah.
it's obvious, but
Yeah.
but
yeah.
not that obvious, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I got to scream at people, don't carry the puppy, and they still carry it, and they
Yeah.
argue with me.
Yeah.
They say, but you know, I want to carry. I that's why I want a puppy. You know, I want to carry it.
Because when you were going out to people's houses, those problems already existed, so they were there. So, Hans, I need help.
Well, first of all, you
Yeah.
need to stop carrying the puppy,
Okay.
just like a drug addiction, right? You know, you stop using the drug, and at first, you know, you will feel
Withdrawal.
withdrawal, but eventually, you know, you get used. You just stop.
Kick it.
You know, it extincts.
Yeah.
You know, it's called extinction.
Yeah.
The drive extincts, right? That's number one. For example, like I have a weight problem, right? And one of the reasons why people get overweight is because they have these insulin resistance, or insulin spikes and stuff. And I'm studying on it quite a bit for a long time. And you know, when you have an insulin spike, you get hungry, right?
Yeah.
So, and don't worry, there's a purpose to why I'm saying this. It seems kind of a little bit off, but so I know when I'm driving, and there's McDonald's, right? And I like to get me sausage McMuffin with egg and cup of coffee. And you know what? My body, my insulin level already shoots up when I'm a mile away from the McDonald's, right? Because they already know, my system already knows
Yeah.
that I'm gonna get it. So the insulin goes already up and create this hormone called ghrelin, which makes me hungry, and then I suddenly watch my hands making right hand turn to the drive-through, you know.
Yeah.
And I noticed it with me, right? And then after a while, you know, when I, you know, with one of my fights against that, I said, okay, I'm not gonna go to Jack in the Box or McDonald's or something ever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you carrying the puppy, right? So I stop
Yeah.
going, and it took me roughly about 14 days to not to get these insulin spikes when I'm a mile away from McDonald's and not being hungry, right? Like, for example, I can drive by, I don't know, Carl's Burger Jr. or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have any insulin spikes
Yeah.
and hunger pangs and all that. And I was not hungry at all before, and suddenly I'm a mile away from McDonald's, and I suddenly I become hungry.
Yeah.
But when I go by Whataburger or Burger King, which I never go there, just don't, you know, I have nothing against them, but I just don't go.
Yeah.
There's no spikes, right?
Yeah.
So when I stop going to McDonald's or Jack in the Box, my favorite two, you know, fast foods.
Your Achilles heel.
So it takes about 14 days or maybe a little longer, but not much longer. And suddenly I can drive by the same McDonald's and I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
And same thing with the puppy, right? If you stop So if it keeps jumping at you, and you don't reward it, you know, and how do you reward the puppy when he's jumping at you inadvertently? Say, "Oh, I'm home. How you doing, kids?" And puppies come and dogs comes and jump at you and all that. Well, make it quiet arrival, right? Come home and just ignore the pup for a while, and he's jumping and don't reward the jumping by petting it or even touching it any shape or form positively, right? And eventually, after about 14 days or so, it'll wear out. You know, you will get the extinction, like me with McDonald's
Yeah.
and insulin spikes.
Okay.
Another thing you can do when the dog is jumping just way too much, just don't hit it on the hand, but as the dog is jumping up, just put the hand in his path of his head, and
Block
so
it.
he hits himself. You know,
Yeah.
he hits himself with the head in your hand.
Yeah. So
Don't hit it, but
Yeah.
he hits himself.
it's like this.
And
is-
the dog keeps jumping and bang in your hand, bang. Eventually, the dog says, "What the heck am I doing?" Right? And they'll
not fun.
stop. You know,
Okay.
I wouldn't knee them. I don't like that.
yeah.
You know, and I don't know. It's just against my
yeah,
nature.
he-
You know, I hate to do. Hold on. I hate to do things which are against nature. Right? Dogs don't knee each other. Right?
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah.
And so when the puppy is or dog is jumping, you know, how do you ignore it? Just turn around and walk away from it.
Yeah.
Right? And eventually, as I said, my insulin spikes, you know, stop happening after 14 days.
Yeah.
Same thing with the dog eventually. So you got to be patient.
Yeah.
It took you many, many weeks to condition the dog to do this stuff. So now it's going to take some time to undo it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
All right.
So you're feeding in. You don't want to feed into the problem.
Yeah,
basically.
you just,
Yeah.
you know, Pavlov calls it extinction, right? Pavlov, how does it work? You have a stimulus, which is
They're bringing.
ring the bell,
Yeah.
and then reward, feed the dog.
Yeah.
So you don't ring the bell. You instead of ring the bell, you come in your house. That's like ring the bell,
Yeah.
right? You just came from work, and the dog starts jumping up, and you pet it or make a big deal out of it. You induce oxytocin, the happy hormone, bonding hormone,
Yeah.
and which is akin to the dog salivating, right? In Pavlov's test,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So, but if you ring the bell and you feed the dog, ring the bell, feed the dog, and they start drooling, salivating, and then you can ring the bell and don't feed the dog, ring the bell, don't feed the dog, and they will salivate less and less until they stop, and just ring bell, nothing happens.
Okay.
Okay, and it's the same principle.
concept,
it's
yeah.
just old-fashioned stuff, you know.
Still, it's.
I'm
dog-
old-fashioned dog trainer. You know,
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, it's the old school." They say, "Okay, it worked for 2,000 years. It still works." You know.
Yeah, I mean, basic psychology in humans still work today. That's why but there's more, or sale, or and people, we laugh at it, right? But it still works to the day, right? These infomercials like at 1 a.m, right? It's the same type of sale because it works, because it's a human psychology still since thousands of years, you know?
Right. It's just
The last one, you're going to miss out.
They condition you to pick up that phone, you know.
Yeah,
And then when you buy something, it feels good that you
Yeah.
bought something.
I'm not saying Hans is doing that at 1 a.m. I'm just
Yeah, well, I ordered one time
Yes.
something, and then the phone never stopped ringing. People trying to sell me crap all day. Forget it. No, nothing over the phone ever.
Now it's the internet. We do it quietly through
Yeah,
the
but
keyboard.
I like to look at watches, right?
Oh yeah,
And I'm afraid because there's this one watch, you know, it's called LIV.
okay.
And I like those watches, so I click on it a few times. Oh my God! Now everywhere I go,
But, yeah,
there's
they're
these
tracking
watches just all over the damn place.
There you go. If you're listening,
That's like this dog. That's like this dog jumping at you, you know. And then when you don't click on it anymore, after a while they stop. You know.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's the same thing. It's you know.
Yeah.
Don't look at some miraculous things.
yeah,
You know, people say, well, you put the dog on a leash and then you can step on the leash. Yeah, you can do that. You know, but you know, when you're correcting the dog, you gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
And you are not gonna be able to every time step on the leash so when the dog jumps, right?
This is not possible. Yeah.
Well, and then
your
the dog
hand
and
is-
then the dog will they're not stupid and they will quickly learn that if they are not on leash,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
or e-collar, right?
they-
And all that stuff,
Same
right?
thing. Same. But the concept
You don't have an
fundamentals is the
e-collar.
same.
No, learn to live with the dog. Learn these basic rules of nature and on conditioning, you know, classical and operant conditioning,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah. 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 I think people overthink things. Like it's. Yeah, but Hans says the most difficult thing about training is we're sitting right now, but it's basically what he's doing is lifting himself out of the chair. That's the most difficult part.
Yeah,
Sometimes
to get up and
do it.
They
Like,
lift the ass above the
Yeah.
chair about a quarter inch.
yeah,
That's the hardest part of the dog training.
yeah, it's getting going and doing it.
Get going and then do it. Yeah.
being-
But you know what? My training is not for competition and all that. You know,
Yeah,
my
every
training
day.
is for everyday life.
Yeah,
You know, how to deal with behavior problems, but mainly how not to even have behavior problems.
problems. Yeah,
You know, that's the main thing. You know, don't. So that's why you're watching this and you learn.
yeah,
So don't pick up the damn puppy, man.
yeah,
You know, don't pick it up. Don't carry it around.
yeah. It's always difficult when you have your first dog. Like, I mean, you're gonna make every mistake in the book probably in the beginning, right?
Hey, I'm
So-
not saying it's easy, right? I'm not
so-
saying it's you know,
Yeah,
but it's these people who carry the puppy. I know I like to carry puppy too. You know, it's
they're
good.
cute.
And you know what I do? And I people, you know, I step on the puppy's foot. Puppy cries,
yeah.
and it's just your heart
Oh, yeah.
breaks, and so you go and pick it up. You know,
yeah.
and right there you screwed up. You know? All right, that's good enough, right?
That was good enough. Yeah, no, that was great. Thank you, Hans. If you guys are interested in videos, Hans has it at Alpine Canine Reel. That's the education website, and
There's obedience video.
obedience video too.
Yeah, protection video.
Protection
obedience
videos, the flirt pole video. All sorts of videos.
Alpine Canine War.
The art
Art of War.
Yeah, art.
Nobody watches. It's one of the most important things there is,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
You know, how to, you know, people send the dog on attack and then they just look at it. No, you go there and help him. You're a team.
Yeah.
And I'm showing that video how to do that.
yeah. I mean, it depends who's listening sometimes to these episodes because we never know that we talked about this issue today, jumping, but you know, you might also doing personal protection training. So that's why we mention these things
Yeah,
sometimes.
so- Yeah, we just kind of plug it in a little
Yeah.
bit here and there's different things.
Yeah, so check it out. So thank you, Hans, and thank you everyone for
Thank
coming
you
listening.
too.
Yeah,
Thank you, Gabor.
I'm just
You know what's funny about you? You know, you know the proper way to say your name is Gabor,
Gabor. Yeah.
but everybody says Gabor, and even you say that.
Because in America, after a while, we moved here in 1983. And so after a while, you just kind of like, okay, in English, it's just easier to say Gabor.
I know you cannot find the windmills, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right.
thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you next time.